Alright, so I'm gonna be very honest when I say this about chapter 178 of Tokyo Ghoul Re, the second to last chapter of the Tokyo Ghoul Re series. I know a lot of people are saying that they believe that there's going to be a part 3 of Tokyo Ghoul. The fact that Tokyo Ghoul should get a part 3. There's so many plot points that still need to be addressed, yada yada yada. I think this chapter really does cement the fact that we're most likely not going to get a part 3 of Tokyo Ghoul. I'll probably make a separate video explaining why we probably won't, and the fact that we're more likely to get spin-off novels of the Tokyo Ghoul Re series, not necessarily a part 3, a spin-off series more on the line of like to address some of the plot points like Hide. I wouldn't be surprised if we get an entire spin-off like novel just dedicated to Hide as a whole. I would love to see that. I would like to read it just to find out the full-on details of what exactly was going on with them during the 2 years. Why is V after him? How does he have this information? Yada yada yada, all that stuff. But let's talk about the actual chapter. This chapter of Tokyo Ghoul Re, there's really not a whole lot of dialogue, kind of similar to last week's chapter, but I do kind of like it, and I can also see why a lot of people don't like it. Now, if you haven't read the chapter of Tokyo Ghoul Re 178, obviously don't watch this video because this will contain spoilers, because I'm going to be discussing all the events of the chapter. So, the first thing that we should probably talk about, and I guess the thing that probably impacted me the most, was the whole entire scene between Koma and Arimi with the other members of Onteku. The fact that Yomo seemingly was forced to take the life of Koma, and the fact that Arimi seemingly died by the hands of Nishiki and Tsukiyama. Obviously, there's really not a whole lot to talk about when it comes to that, just more on the lines of like, yeah, they're dead. From what it looks like, Koma was run through by Yomo's arm, and Arimi looked like that she was kind of like laying down peacefully. It's a really sad scene. Obviously, Koma and Arimi kind of came out from like a really tough time in Tokyo. You know, they were leading the Black Dobers and the Devil Apes. They were at war with each other, or not war, but like kind of like a gang battle against each other. And the fact that Yoshimura kind of came in and took them both in and kind of gave them a new life, and they were kind of innocent in the whole situation, and they were forced to fight against their friends and even die by their friends' hands. It's just sad. I don't really know what else to say about it. You see, Yomo looks very solemn about it, and you have where Nishiki is actually flat out crying. So that was actually really sad to see. Now, besides that, in this chapter, I guess the three other things that we should probably talk about is seemingly the V organization seems to be either being worn down and completely annihilated. They're trying to pull back, but they're pretty much cutting down all the V members, and they're going to be decimated by the end of this battle. We see, multiple characters fighting them off, like Naki, Misa, the QS squad. We see Ure, using Ginkui for once in this arc. One of the very few times in this arc, if not any. Wait, I'm actually trying to think. Did Ure really use Ginkui? Because it's weird, because like Ginkui is a really strong Quinke, and I'm probably going to make a video talking about it as a whole, but Ginkui is like a really powerful Quinke, and Ure doesn't use it, and I don't really know why, but, whatever. You have where in this chapter, we also get to see Eto. Now, I saw some people in my live reactions, in my live reaction / live stream, saying that Eto is dead, and she's just kind of like laying there peacefully, happily, because all V is dead. But I kind of doubt that, only because why would Ashita have Eto regenerate her head, flip off freaking Kaiko, just to have her die in the battle against V? I'm pretty sure Eto, either she's just kind of like just chilling there, just laying down. Either she killed a bunch of V members and she's just tired now because she just regenerated her freaking head, or she could just be unconscious. I don't really know. But either way, we see Ui and Hiroko staring at Eto, just kind of like why the fuck is she here? So I don't really know what they're gonna do with her. I guess we're gonna probably find out next chapter. Seemingly next chapter is gonna be an epilogue, so that's gonna be interesting. Now, another thing that happened in this chapter, I'm going to save, let's talk about the Kaneki stuff, because I feel like the Kaneki stuff and the Toka stuff is the only thing that people really care about right now, only because that's kind of like the meat of the chapter, because this chapter is kind of all over the place, and like I said before, there wasn't really that much dialogue, and the dialogue that was there wasn't really that deep. In this chapter, right, you have where we see Kaneki. He's escaping from, Dragon. He just killed Rize. Dragon's, the Aqueduct is like breaking apart, and seemingly it kind of turned into like this goo liquid type substance and just started washing Kaneki out like through the bottom and seemingly drowning him. Now you see Kaneki kind of floating in the water, kind of like reaching up towards the light, kind of like the iconic anime scene that you see in like almost every single anime. Jiraiya in his final moments, like you have where he's kind of like looking up at the sky just peacefully when he dies. So I don't really know if this is supposed to be Kaneki's quote-unquote death scene or what, because like last week I kind of came to the realization that yeah, Kaneki's probably not going to die by the end, which I'm fine with. There's kind of no point in killing off Kaneki at this point, especially after the last chapter where like he got bit in between like those two dragon like teeth or whatever, and then he like survived, and I thought that was gonna be his death scene. I was just kind of like, oh god, like Kaneki, he's done some questionable things, don't get me wrong, but like even he doesn't deserve a death that brutal, especially after like all the good things that he's done. Like the good things he's done has definitely outweighed the bad, but here I don't really know what Ishida's trying to do. I don't know if Kaneki is gonna drown here, and if that's the case, people were bringing up in my comment, or like in the comic section, that what about Ayato? Because if Kaneki's getting washed up by that and he's not able to avoid it, there's no way in hell Ayato is going to be able to. And people were also saying that it could be possible that maybe Ayato saves him. I don't really know. And I'm actually kind of wondering, like, what was the point of even bringing Ayato? Like, I know, yeah, apparently he knows the way down to, like, the 24th Ward, like, the lower regions or whatever. But from what it looked like when they were climbing down there, right, Kimi was the one who was guiding them, not Ayato. So I don't really know. I don't know what's going on there. But yeah, when Kaneki's like reaching up, so I don't remember it like word for word, but I think it was on the lines of like, Kaneki, I've always looked at you, and people were saying like, oh, who's the one who's monologuing that? Like Kaneki's obviously not saying that because he's like he's not staring at himself. Now the only thing I can think of is either A, it's Hide, which I think is a little bit more unlikely. But the only reason why I say Hide, because he was like looking at like a butterfly or at like a bird or something, like some type of white flying object. And then it cuts to Kaneki. So either it's Hide thinking about Kaneki, or it's Toka thinking about Kaneki, because it transitions to Toka immediately after, and she's staring out a window and she's talking to Psycho, and she's kind of like, oh yeah, let's wait for Kaneki together, and then you see like the butterfly like kind of like land on like a piece of paper or something, which is kind of, I don't really know what the butterfly is supposed to represent, because the whole entire concept of butterflies, right, in TG, along with like flowers and stuff, have always been symbolic. Like we saw I think the last time we saw like a butterfly in TG, right, was chapter 125, when you have where like Kaneki is like in Toka's arms, like after they they did it, and she's like holding him, and you see like these wings kind of like lightly sketched behind Kaneki's back in sort of like a antenna type thing coming from Kaneki's head, and it looked like a butterfly. I think that's like the last time we saw it. So the only thing I can kind of think of is that the butterfly is supposed to represent rebirth, and also like future, like the future, and the fact that there's hope in the future and things are going to get better and stuff like that. That's the only thing I can think of, but I'm not really sure because this chapter didn't really give us a whole lot of meat, if you get what I mean. So yeah, besides that, that's kind of all I have for this video. I'm sorry that this review is really short and even seems a little bit rushed, but this chapter was just very fast-paced. It was very fast-paced. It didn't have a whole lot of dialogue to digest and really talk about, but yeah. So next week, final chapter of Tokyo Ghoul. Apparently, they called it a supersized volume, so either this volume that the next chapter is supposed to drop in is going to be longer than usual, which I think it is. I think it has like more on the lines of like 13 or 14 chapters in it compared to like the usual 9 or 10. And I also believe that it's possible that maybe the chapter might be longer than usual, but don't quote me on that. I don't know that for sure. That's just me coming up with the assumption. And even if it is longer, don't expect the chapter to be like 100 pages long, like the Full Metal Alchemist final chapter or something like that, because sometimes a chapter, like the final chapter being like a little bit longer, which I think that's how it was for Bleach, and also for what's that other series called that also ended? Nisekoi. I think they extended it from like, instead of being like 18 pages, it was like 26. So, and then like Naruto had like 2 chapters in like one day. So I don't really know what's gonna happen, because Young Jump is a different magazine. It's not Shueisha, so I don't know how they're gonna treat Tokyo Ghoul. They might give the chapter 40. They might give it like 18 still. So yeah, I'm expecting next chapter to be an epilogue, probably some type of time skip, either that or it's gonna take place immediately after this chapter. I don't really know. And yeah, so it was a nice ride, guys. Even though Tokyo Ghoul hasn't really had the best final chapters, I still like the series. I still enjoy the series. I've had a lot of fun reviewing it, even though my channel got taken down and stuff. I've had a lot of fun. I met a lot of you guys. You guys hang out on my Discord and stuff, and it's just fun talking to you all. So, anyways, that's kind of all of this video. I don't know why I'm like ending it kind of sad, but I don't know. I'm kind of sad about this whole situation. So, anyways, guys, thank you for watching. Remember, comment, subscribe as always. I love you all. Jalen Hawk signing out. See you guys.